Conversations with Iris. Here's your host, my loving wife, Iris.
Hola, mi gente bonita. Hello, beautiful people, beautiful souls, beautiful individuals. You're just beautiful all the way around. Let's just say it how it is. And welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Iris, the little podcast that could. Yes, and I am your host week after week on Fridays, which of course are those fun days. We always love to bring you guys some great conversations that bring you guys that sabor, that flavor. You know, I'm Latina. I'm a proud Latina here, and I love bringing you guys that pizzazz, spicy and great conversations that just inspire us, challenge us, and just they help us heal and remind us that we're not walking this life alone. I'm telling you, these episodes are just life changing and could change anybody's perspective. Let me tell you guys, I feel inspired every single time I interview someone. I always take away a little bit something out of all these wonderful interviews. And I know that my listeners, to you all that are listening, I know you're doing the same. And let me tell you guys something, just a little bit of a scoop here. Today's episode is for the leaders out there. Yes, for those leaders, the entrepreneurs, the parents, the professionals, and honestly, anybody out there carrying the weight of the world while smiling through it. A lot of us just like get up in the morning and have so much on our shoulders, and we just smile through that pain, through that success, through whatever you're going through in your life. But today, let me tell you, we're going to be talking about authenticity, that thing that we call originality, burnout, imposter syndrome, very, very big, leadership transformation, and what it truly means to stop surviving and really start living your life. You deserve to live your life. Why not? So let me tell you guys a little bit about our guest. We are going to be joined by the amazing Kurt Busch. He is a certified internal family systems practitioner, a trauma-informed coach, a co-founder of the Brimstone Coaching Group, co-author of the Live Fully, Lead Authentically, and co-host of the Brimstone Coaching Podcast. He just does everything. I love this already, let me tell you guys. But what I like about Kurt, listen up to this. He has lived so many lives, from manufacturing leadership to ministry, and also coaching leaders through transformations and self-awareness that just makes them better, makes them think outside the box, and just to live a better life, a positive light, a positive mindset. But what makes his story overall so powerful, ladies and gentlemen, is his honesty about struggling with imposter syndrome, and learning how to lead just with that faith, with that success, with that, being powerful instead of performatively. So without further ado, please help me welcome, as I mentioned, Kurt Busch. Bienvenidos to Conversations with Iris. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Iris, I'm doing really great. That was a ridiculously kind and generous intro. Thank you for that, and thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, you know it. I told you before you came on. I was like, listen, I'm gonna give you a really good introduction now because you deserve that. We need to talk about that. Let me tell you. But you know what, Kurt? Before we dive in, we gotta loosen up a little bit for our audience, for our listeners, just a little bit. If you're sitting at a baseball game, okay, and you got a fresh cup of coffee in your hand and your favorite music is playing in the background, what song is playing and what is in your coffee and who's winning that game? I gotta know.
Okay, Iris, I am a huge baseball fan, so this works out really well. I don't know if you planned that, but I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a huge Boston Red Sox fan, so
Okay.
they're gonna win. They are terrible. I don't want to talk about it. That is going to amp me up too much. But what song is playing? I really like a band called Foster the People.
Okay, haven't heard of them. Okay.
Yeah, they're not the most mainstream, but I really like them. They're kind of like an alt-rocky kind of vibe. And what's in my coffee? I just like black coffee, if I'm honest.
Really? Oh my God. You don't bedazzle it with that creamer and caramel stuff? They get all the fancy drinks.
I know. I'm in my 40s. I got to be careful with the sugar, Just going black coffee.
I know. I got to follow your advice because I love to bedazzle. I call it bedazzle my coffee up because it's so bad for you, but it's so good.
I love that. Yeah. You can have mine.
Yeah, I already could tell this is gonna be a great conversation, and of course, I looked up on you, and I knew you were a baseball person.
Yeah, way to
So I was
go. Way
like,
to
I
go.
knew it, yeah, I'm telling you. So, Kurt, I want us to get to know you a little bit better beyond the titles, beyond the beautiful coaching work that you do. You're an author and you do great things, but beyond the leadership work, tell us a little bit about you. Let's unpack all those layers. Who is Kurt Busch and where did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking it. It's always an honor to get to share some of that story. Um, yeah, so I started my career working for a really large manufacturing company. I was so young. I was doing roles that I had no business doing. I learned a lot from a really great group of people. I supervised a team of people doing a production process. I also did some recruiting. I did all the labor recruiting for a number of years for this
Wow.
manufacturing plant. Then I went to seminary late in life, which huge recommend, by the way. If somebody wants to change a career midlife, sorry, that was sarcasm.
I
That's a
love it.
that's a huge change to kind of shift careers
Yeah.
midlife. But I did that in my 30s, and then I pastored a couple churches for nearly a decade as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I think what I've learned is that there was a time where I would have looked back and said, "Man, I did all these things that's a sign of instability or insecurity, whatever it is." But
Yeah.
now I can look back and be really gracious and say, like, I love those parts of my life, and I am who I am today because of those parts of my life. Um, I parent the way I do because of those parts of my life, and I just have a huge amount of gratitude for all those different seasons.
And I love how you gave us a little bit of rundown on who is Kurt Busch now and what you're doing in that parenting thing about it, right? That parenting little flair that we got. And I'm a parent myself, and I'm telling you, you just don't stop. I have a grown young adult, but it's like parenting, you just never stop. It's like it's always going to be there dangling in front of you, but it's always a great thing. I mean, I love being called a mother, and I'm pretty sure you
Mm,
get the same vibes too to being called dad. It's just a great feeling. So I love that about you, and that like shows vulnerability there. I love
mm.
that.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Thanks for saying it. Yeah, I've got a couple teenagers, and I love teenage stage of life. I mean, it never gets easier, as I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah.
But man, I love this stage of life where like we're getting to see personalities come in, and yeah, it's really fun.
Oh man, I could only imagine. Yeah, I remember that stage is it could be kind of testing and kind of crazy at the same time,
Hmm.
but it's like it's there. I have a 21-year-old, so it's like I kind
Mm,
of feel like he's still a teenager. Kids are
yeah,
different. They're not built like us, you know what I mean?
I
So
do.
it's
Yeah.
just it's just different. So I definitely want to go ahead and transition and talk about you and you openly talk about like faking it, like you talk
Hmm.
about imposter syndrome because I really want our listeners to understand what that is and people just secretly feeling like they're faking it till they make it. You always hear that at work. Like, I
Yeah.
hear that, well, in order for you to move up, you got to fake it till you make it. I just don't believe in that. I believe that you can move up in a company a little bit differently. So I wanted to ask you, what is imposter syndrome? And why do you think so many successful people out there still feel so unworthy and just disconnected?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love the way you used the words unworthy and disconnected because I think that sums it up. We would define imposter syndrome as this fear that we're going to be found out that we don't belong, or that somehow we've ended up in our roles
Mhm.
by tricking someone or by fooling someone, and it's just a matter of time until they find that out. I think, Iris, I would say that some form of imposter syndrome is present in almost every client that I work with. Some feeling of inadequacy, some feeling of not belonging,
Yeah.
and I think here's how I think about it. Um, I felt this so deeply in seminary. Uh, here's a 30-year-old person writing master's level papers, having never written papers like that before, just like drowning. And I remember that every time that I would go to submit a paper online, I would hover over the submit button with my mouse, and I just couldn't make my finger click it because I was so scared. I was so scared that that paper was going to be the one where the professors found out, or like push the professors over the edge to say, yeah, you know what, Kurt doesn't belong. Kurt's not good enough to be here.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and it just becomes exhausting. And
Yeah.
I think to your question of like, why do so many people feel it? I, yeah, that's a great question. One of my theories is exactly what you said. This fake it till you make it has just become the norm. And I think there's a gracious way to hear that. I mean, I don't like to pick on fake it till you make it all the time. I think there's a gracious way to say that I'm going to walk across the bridge while I'm building it. I think that's a gracious way to say I'm going to learn while I work in a role, similar meaning. But I think it's just so prominent that people
Mhm.
believe they have to fake something or prove something, and then they have to live up to it. And I think that's the trouble, is that when we feel like we have to fake it or prove something, now the work is proving it, not like living into it authentically, not living into it with our whole selves, but we're just constantly trying to prove it to someone.
Mm. And that is very true. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. As a corporate individual myself, we see that a lot. We hear
Mhm.
that mentioned so many times. Like I just mentioned it, like fake it till you make it.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like there is ways in order for you to move up. Yeah, we have that thing in front of us that tells us, in LinkedIn and all that is who you
yeah.
know, it's not what you know, it's out there. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that for people in the corporate level that are trying to be seen or trying to get off out, like trying to make a point there? I know it's not about proving, but how do we break from that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And even Iris, when you talk about, being about who you know and not what you know,
Yeah,
I am very aware that in lots of corporate situations that's actually true, right? That's actually a thing.
it's
Um,
unfortunate.
it is unfortunate, and it just drives me crazy. I think the question that we always ask our clients is, um, if that's true, how do we want to be in that setting, or if we want to get out of that setting, or whatever it looks like, how do we want to show up in those places if that's true? Because the reality is that I can't change a corporate culture of, it's who you know, not what you know. I can't change that myself.
Yeah.
But I do get to decide how I walk into work every day in a system like that. And there's probably a different discussion of like when to get out of a system like that or when not to. But on a micro basis, like I do get to decide: am I going to swim in those waters? Am I going to uh, join that sort of corporate culture, or am I going to measure my success or measure my climb or measure my progress in a way that I can control, that isn't based on someone else's expectations or someone else's evaluation of me?
Mm. And I like how you mentioned that too, because I feel like, and I had a conversation with someone about this, and we have the power when we get up in the morning, we have the power to decide how successful do we want to be
Mm,
that day.
mm,
We could change the narrative. We can, if you're going to manifest negativity, you have the power to do that, just like you have the
mm.
power to make your day a little bit positive. And thank you for reminding our listeners that, because we need to decide how we want to work that day. We have that decision to make, but we could make so much power with it, right? We could move mountains with it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like there's always a conversation around the cultures we work in and whether they're appropriate or inappropriate. I think from a coaching standpoint, we're always asking ourselves, as we coach ourselves too, but we're always asking our clients to think about the things that we can control. And what I walk into work with and how I walk into work every morning, I am ridiculously in charge of that. Uh, Probably way more in charge of that than I even understand. So if we can help someone take control of some of those things they can take control of, I think that goes a long way to sort of navigating this question of like, how do I survive in this fake it to make it, or how do I survive in this
Yeah.
culture where it's who you know. Again, those things that we are ridiculously in control of.
Mm, mm-mm. It's so true. It is so true. And I want to go back to something that you said when we started the conversation. I mean, you have gone from manufacturing floors yourself, and then you entered into ministry
Mhm.
and then to coaching, leading so many different individuals between that, transformation aspect.
Mhm.
But looking back now, I mean, what do you think every chapter of your life was preparing you for the work that you do today? And that's that beautiful coaching work, because that's truthfully like beautiful work, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if I zoom out enough, great question, by the way, Iris. I think if I zoom out enough, I think I can look back at the earliest parts of my career and see like I was out of my depth and I had no self-awareness. Like I couldn't have said any of these things I'm saying to you now. I couldn't say them then. Like I was faking it till I made it.
Mhm.
Like I was doing all the things that now I'm like, no, we don't have to do that. Um, I, I I think in that early manufacturing time, I learned how to learn. I learned how to be curious. I learned how to um, sort of not be the expert in the room, but also then like, how do I soak up as much as I can, knowing that it's okay that I'm not the expert in the room. Um, that's a huge part. I mean, I think we as a coaching practice, we hold curiosity really close to our hearts. That the best coaches are going to be the most curious with their clients. So I think I can name that to say I need to learn as much as I can as quickly as I can, and that carries over. I think that ministry season. I don't know. Do you remember 2020, Iris?
Oh my God. How can you forget, right? Oh
Yeah, yeah.
no.
I, uh, yeah, exactly. There were a
Did
couple
you
things
survive the
going.
toilet paper era? Did you survive that? I was kidding.
We did, yeah, just barely, just barely. Uh, that season was so hard, and in leading a church, there's a lot of volunteer leaders. Like my job as a local church pastor was to lead a group of volunteers as they led the organization. And I think what I learned in that season was I loved helping those volunteer leaders learn how to lead in a way that they wanted to lead. I loved helping them navigate their own anxiety. I loved helping them sort of raise their own self awareness when they would walk into the room where we were leading together. And what came out of that then for me was like, this is where I want to spend my time. This is what I want to give my life to, and this is what I want to wake up and do every day.
I like that. I like that. And I like how you basically sat there in content. You said it plain out loud. Like there's beauty in leadership. And
Mm,
you found like your purpose. Mind you, I know we have many different purposes in life because we don't just have one life to live. We
mhm.
have many here. Come on now. We're individuals full of so much life, but I like that. I mean, you led a group of volunteers and it opened up this new door of opportunity of coaching. Why not? Right. I
Mhm.
just love that. And let me ask you, because this is very important because I feel like we live in a crazy culture right now. We have that little thing now that we call AI,
Mm. Mhm.
but a lot of us are still, burned out, overworking ourselves, not practicing healthy time management. Let's be honest. I mean, how do you help those individuals just recognize the difference between that healthy ambition and silently, falling apart while appearing successful? Like, how do you help them realize that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just love the way you framed it because it doesn't seem as though ambition is the problem when we think about burnout or when we think about stress levels. It doesn't seem that ambition or like the amount of work we do is the only factor there. I know a lot
Mhm.
of really successful people who work a ton of hours that are not even close to burnout. So we think about it like this. We think about a healthy balance that has to include alignment with who and how we decide we want to be. If there's a misalignment in areas of our life that are misaligned with who and how we want to be, I should say, those misalignments are going to chip away at our thriving and our wholeness and our balance. And some of those areas of misalignment we have control over, some we don't as much, right? I'm certainly aware there's people listening to this that are showing up to their job, doing great jobs, but they leave
Yeah.
and they think like this is not where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
This is
that
not for me.
yep, that grind is real, and there are seasons where we do what we do. I think ultimately we do ask that question of alignment and what parts of our lives are
Yeah.
misaligned with the people that we want to be, the people that we've decided to be. And then we think about the practice of reflection and counter systems. So if I'm getting my battery drained or getting my life drained from the things I do at work, can I build some counter systems that will kind of build that back up in me, build that energy back up in me? That's different for everybody. Some people, it's physical exercise. Some people, it's mental exercise. But are there systems that we can actually put in place to sort of build that energy back up? And again, the practice of reflection, we think the practice of reflection might actually be one of the most important practices we can do, because then we start to see what's really so in our lives, and what parts of our lives are misaligned. We just don't know that we can see those without the practice of reflection.
Mm. And tell me about that a little bit more. What is the practice of reflection for our listeners, and how can we incorporate that? And of course, I don't want to take away from the wonderful tools that you basically encourage these individuals through your coaching program. But what can we do to practice reflection? Like, can you just tell us a little bit snippet of that?
Yeah, reflection is kind of a scary word, right? If somebody's
It is.
never,
It really is.
yeah, if
I
somebody's
gotta look
never
cute in the mirror, child.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, if somebody's never intentionally taken, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and like sat with a notebook or just sat by themselves with no, distraction or no cell phone, that's a scary thing. Uh,
It is.
so, so we like to think about a couple things, and we have some tools. I won't get into the tools. There's plenty
Of
of time for
course.
that later, but we believe that there are moments that we have every single day where we react instead of respond, or we lash out, or we withdraw in those encounters with people or situations. We think those are the most important places to start reflecting and asking questions like, what happened, or who was involved, what did I feel, and what did I do, and if I could do it again, would I do it differently?
Mhm.
And we think the beauty of that is that most of us adults, once we see those things, if we can answer some of those questions, we actually will then have some agency to say, do I like how I answered those, or do I want to answer those differently next time? So reflection can be a lot of things, but we think some structure to say, start in these places, start with these kind of key questions, and then stuff starts to be illuminated, then we get to have agency on what we do with it.
Hmm. So when an individual starts practicing that self-reflection, that self-awareness pretty much,
hmm
what do you see that people tend to uncover about themselves, or what's true in there that they haven't noticed before? What is the aha moment?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, the aha moment is that they like have default patterns of behavior, right? Most of us, like, we go through our lives, and we respond and react to things, and we don't even know what or why. We're just automatically responding, right? If I said, Iris, somebody just cut you off in traffic, I bet you have a default reaction without even having to think about it. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So I think the and I have one too, Iris. So
Oh my
don't
god.
feel any shame. Uh, we would say that all of us have those. It's not bad. Like, we all have those. They were formed in us long ago. The aha moment is, oh, I do have default patterns of reactions, and then now maybe there's other ways.
Mm,
And it sounds so silly, but it's not silly, because we just do it. Like, we just fall into this trap of thinking, this way that I do things is just, it's the only way, or this is how adults adult, right? So
yeah.
I think the aha is like, oh, I have patterns of behavior that I default to, and I get to do something about it. This isn't, quote, normal. I get to decide what I do.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have the ability to do that. And I like that because that's very important. And then, You mentioned about how you basically lead this wonderful ministry and you led a group of volunteers. You saw the beauty in that leadership. You were like, I have to do this. This is what I'm
Mhm.
meant to do. But I want to ask you something from your experience. And I think this is very important for our listeners because it's kind of like in my mind. I mean, do you think a leader could actually lead others? How do I say it? Do you think a leader could lead others when they do not have healed parts themselves?
Mm, that's a
What do you
that's a
think?
that's a great question. I'll answer only if you promise to answer too. Is that a deal?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, all right. Um, that's a great question. I think I want to say it like this. I don't know. I don't know when full healing happens.
Mhm.
Right. I think the question of healing, and I maybe don't want to stray too far into like clinical psychology or, but
Of course
uh,
not.
I
Just your
think
guess.
yeah, I think I wonder about degrees of healing, and if there are ways to lead from our healed places while still healing other places. Um, I think I would wonder that. I think there's probably
Mhm.
a like readiness, that the kind of proverb that says hurt people. I think there's probably a like bar of readiness that says if my healing hasn't addressed my own ability to be in hard conversations, or if there are some healing that keep me from doing some
Yeah,
basic things, I would probably say, man, I might be disqualified from leadership. But I think
yeah.
what's true is that I don't know that the healing ever stops.
I don't think so neither. I don't think so. I don't think it has a time frame.
Yeah.
Really, like grief. I think it's kinda similar to grief.
Yeah.
I think it's because it doesn't have a time frame. You gotta find that within yourself, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know. I just thought about that and it came out like the way it did, and I had to like retrace and say it the way I wanted to say it. So
Yeah.
I was just curious. It's kind of like in the same spectrum when somebody's trying to find a therapist, depending on what they're going through. Well, I want to make sure I find a therapist that has been through with what I went through
Yeah.
so that they could relate. It's kind of like in that same content, right?
It is.
So
Do you
yeah.
know the name Ruth Haley Barton? Have you ever heard this name?
No, no. Tell us.
She's an author. She writes from a faith-based perspective, but she writes about leadership. And Ruth Haley Barton, and I'm going to paraphrase, but she would
Sure.
say, if a leader is not investing in their own growth, they are disqualified from leadership. And
Mm.
and I think that's maybe how I think about this. If I as a leader am not investing in my own personal growth, which would include I think knowing like where my healing needs to continue, right? Knowing
Yeah.
where I'm healthy and well, where I'm not. um, I think that that's what I apply to myself. Like I apply that principle to myself, and similar to the if you're looking for a therapist, you want someone who's done that kind of work. I I would apply that to my clients as well, to say
Mhm.
I think the most healthy leadership is leadership that is investing in themselves continuously, as well.
Always trying to find ways to better themselves, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
always like to tell my listeners this, there's always room for opportunity for your growth,
mm,
to learn something, to get better at what you're doing. If
yeah,
you're not getting better here, you might probably get better in something else. There's always opportunity for growth, and I love that. If a leader's not investing on their own growth, they're basically disqualified. I love that how you mentioned that because I feel like that is so true.
yeah,
Just like maybe leaders need to also, I feel like just working in corporate, asking for feedback.
mm,
That's so huge to me. I mean,
yeah.
how do you feel about that? Like when a leader asks you for feedback, I think that's very invaluable. Like that's amazing because that's going to help them support you to where they need you to, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think one of the other principles we hold as a coaching practice is we need people around us that are willing to say the hard things to us.
Yeah.
I think just as a human, I mean, I don't even think this needs to be a leader. I think as a human, it's just such a good idea to have someone around us who's going to give us critical feedback. But I think you're right. I've never seen a leader ask for critical feedback honestly and safely and genuinely. I've never seen that happen where it didn't lead to trust being built or
Yeah.
cultures being renovated. I mean, you're spot on. Like that, I'm a little sad at how uncommon that is these days.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It
but
really is.
yeah, invaluable is a good word. You said it. It's a good word.
Yeah, I believe so. Let me tell you. But all right, Kirk, I want to go ahead and transition to something fun. I started doing this segment not too long ago with my listeners. I just got some feedback and they love it. I want to do some rapid fire questions and I want you to tell me whatever comes to your mind because
Let's
we want
go.
to dig deep into that beautiful mind of yours.
Yeah,
So I
let's
got
go.
5 questions here. What's the first one? Coffee or tea? Tell me the truth.
Coffee, 100%.
Oh man, you're not a tea person, not even when you're sick. Tea
Well,
is good.
I could be like I use my voice a lot, so I try to drink tea to like soothe some of my vocal cord stuff. But I don't know, like it's so much work, like
Oh, it is. It
uh,
is.
I don't mind tea, but I'm always gonna pick coffee if they're both in front of me. I'm probably gonna go coffee.
The second one word that describes authentic leadership. Just say it.
One word: vulnerability.
Ooh, that's deep. Why? Why vulnerability?
I just have never seen a leader exercise some level of vulnerability. Like everybody's in charge of their own level of vulnerability, right? But I've never seen a leader be vulnerable and then not reap the benefits of trust or deeper relationships or again healthier culture. I've just never seen it go bad.
So true. So true. The third one, favorite way to reset mentally.
I like a good book.
Are you an audiobook person or do you read?
I like to read. I like to feel it.
But you can feel it too with audiobooks too. Come on now.
So you're an audiobook person,
I am because I be cleaning and it's just like, wow, I like the sound effects. I want to feel like I'm in a movie. But you know what? This is so weird. If I enjoy the audiobook so much, I'll actually buy the actual book and I'll reread it again. It's so weird.
I like that. What are you reading? Are you in the middle of a book right now? Can I ask?
So okay, I'm going to be a kid here and be nerdy. So I just finished reading, I love psychological thrillers. That's my thing. But I'm also a fantasy nerd. So I just finished reading Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly because I love psychological thrillers. But right now, in my Audible, you would laugh. I am actually reading The Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter all over again.
I'm not going to laugh at that. I've got 2 teenagers and a wife that read those over and over and over.
So just to give you guys a heads up, you asked. So Audible actually redid the whole Harry Potter books now, and they have like music in the back. They're like more alive, and
wow,
I was just like, I gotta reread them again. I was like a teenager when I read them. So that is actually on my deck right now, The Sorcerer's Stone, and it's just I'm hearing it and I'm laughing like, oh my god, yeah, I seen that in the movie. It's just weird.
Love that.
But I take a break from psychological thrillers because they could be intense sometimes, and put a fantasy.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
So number 4, one book everyone should read besides your own.
Oh gosh. I'm like looking at my bookshelves right now.
Uh-oh.
I know. Okay, so this is a book called Boundaries for Your Soul. It's by Dr. Allison Cook, and I will say it's written from a faith perspective. I actually don't know that matters because it's just gold. But she's an internal family systems practitioner, therapist, and she just writes all about this idea that we have parts of us and we try to keep parts down. What would happen if we welcomed all of our parts into ourselves to integrate into one whole self? Love it.
Oh, I love that too. That sounds good. I'm gonna have to look into that. Boundaries for Your Soul for our listeners. And the last one. If your life had a theme song right now, what would that be? Just say it.
Gosh, I listen to so much music. Oh boy. Iris, I don't even know. I'm like running through my Spotify catalog.
Oh my God, I don't know neither, but like I was listening to Beyonce's Partition. I mean, I don't know why, but that was the last thing I listened to when I came into the studio. But I hope yours
So
is better than mine.
yeah, I don't even know how to answer it. You didn't ask this question, but my wife and I have a little side hustle that we do that involves music, and we do it in bars and breweries. And music is
Oh,
such a
nice.
big part of our lives, and we listen to so much of it, and I can't think of one stinking song to tell you. I'm sorry, I can't.
It's
I got nothing for
okay.
that
It's
one.
okay. I'll come back to it later, maybe
Okay.
towards the end here. But as we transition to the closure of this wonderful conversation, you have been such a pleasure, by the way. But for someone listening right now, Kurt, just for someone who feels stuck, I mean, if they're currently burned out, exhausted, emotionally numb, and just questioning their overall purpose. I mean, what would you want them to hear today? If they could just take away something, one little thing from this beautiful conversation, what would you tell that listener?
Yeah, the takeaway I always want to leave is a gentle invitation to remember that it just doesn't have to be that way. The sort of white knuckling life and just surviving and treading water, it just doesn't have to be that way. And I would probably say it's not meant to be that way. And I say that in the gentlest voice I can, with no shame and no judgment. But there is another way, and it is possible, even today or tomorrow.
Thank you for that. Those some beautiful words for sure. And I know that you are basically, you wear so many hats. You really do. I mean, you're an author, you got your own podcast. I even went through your website because I'm nosy like that, because I'm Latina.
Hey,
And I saw that you have a colleague that also works with you with your coaching.
yeah.
But I want you to tell our listeners, where can they find you, connect with you, and just listen to your podcast, your book. I mean, we want to support everything that you're doing. Tell them where they could find you.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation, Iris. Our website really is the best way. It's Brimstone with a B, brimstonecoachinggroup.com. Uh, on the website, people can find our bios, find links to have a completely free conversation with us to see if our method and our philosophy of coaching is a fit for them. We also, here's one thing I'm super excited about. It's 100% free. We have a course called Attending on our website. And what we hope for is that people could engage in a 10-day online experience, 100% free, with no gotcha at the end, no call to action, but 10 days of being able to notice what's going on internally, with our feelings, with our emotions. And we truly just hope it's 10 days where people can create intentional time to become aware of who they are inside. And that's on our website. Again, it is 100% free. We have no interest in selling any of those courses. We just want people to engage them well.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Kurt, I just want to thank you again for choosing Conversations with Iris, for sharing your story, telling your story, your purpose, what you're doing now. This conversation has truly not only been fun, but just powerful. I really do think that so many people listening are going to feel seen after hearing this. Go to your website, they're going to end up doing great things. So I want to just thank you for that, for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It truly has been a pleasure, Iris.
Oh, this conversation has been good. It's same here. To everyone listening today, I hope this episode reminded you that you don't have to carry all that weight of the world alone. Look at your own reflection, as Kurt mentioned. Take a look at that. Thank you all for joining today. A huge thank you again to you, Kurt, for joining us today. Just been such a pleasure. Please continue to like and subscribe and download and sharing this episode, because somebody right now needs this. I keep telling you guys the same old tune. Continue to support independent podcasts, and these conversations do matter. I'm telling you. Without further ado, con mucho amor, this has been Conversations with Iris. Thank you all. Thank you, Kurt.